So today I had one of those extraordinary things happen, just that was soul-crushing kind of experience. My 14-year-old son and my 2-year-old son left together to go on a walk on the Greenway here in our town. And they were supposed to meet up with my wife and other children on that walk. They should have crossed paths after about 5 minutes. Well, my wife and the rest of my other children arrived home and never saw them. And so we went on a desperate search for the missing 14 and 2-year-old, searched the entire Greenway, and began a wider search of the suburbs around our house. After about 20 minutes, we could not find them, so we finally made that fateful call to 911 and got the cops involved. And after about 20 minutes, we did in fact find the missing 2 children. Somehow, in a way we still can't figure out, they did not cross paths. It's inconceivable to us how they didn't manage to see one another. And I couldn't help but think afterwards, reflecting back on the experience of that, the sheer terror that you feel when your child is missing. And in this modern world, thinking about all of the things that could happen, and knowing that every minute at that point represents, a falling probability that you'll ever see your children again, or that they'll be returned unharmed. And all of those emotions that I went through, the fear, the adrenaline, the anger, and then finally the relief at discovering my 2 sons perfectly fine at the park, wondering where everybody else was. Of course, I had a police escort, so that added some energy to the whole thing. But I couldn't help but think of course, how Our Lady and how St. Joseph felt when they were searching for Jesus in the temple. But also, of course, how Our Lady felt on Good Friday, when she knew, in some way, she knew that our Lord would be coming back. She knew that he would rise from the dead. She knew in some sense, and yet there he was, suffering, dead, abandoned, betrayed, and she was without him. And, I'm convinced that our Lord permitted me to suffer in this way, to have a greater insight into that, not just an intellectual insight, but an experiential process, to understand what that kind of loss really means, and what love properly oriented really means. I know this is a little bit rambling, a little bit personal, but I want to share it with you just from the standpoint of connecting with Our Lady and with our Lord, and the consequence of sin in the world, and the separation that forces between our soul and God. And given the amount of love that he has for us, and how his love is perfect and ours is usually disordered, how he must feel, to the extent that God has emotional capacity, how he must feel when we choose to voluntarily separate ourselves from him through sin. God bless you.